All right, it's week 14 here, Yahoo Sportsbook Live. Minty, this, oh boy, this slate of games right now is, I don't know what to say, quite a treat if we're being sarcastic here. A lot of blowouts, a lot of messes out there. Let's start with a whole bunch of losers. At least if you listen to Urban Meyer, that's what he thinks about his coaching staff and some of the players down there in Jacksonville. And hey, this might be the first time Urban Meyer's right about something all year. 10-0 Tennessee Titans over the Jacksonville Jaguars. The halftime line is Tennessee minus 13.5. Minty, pretty gross looking game so far here. We've got 10 of 12 for Trevor Lawrence for 93 yards. We've got Donta Foreman popping in a touchdown for the Tennessee Titans. Not much going on in their passing game either, although Ryan Tannehill has been pretty efficient spreading the ball out to multiple receivers. If you started James Robinson in the hope that Urban Meyer wouldn't bench him for no good reason for multiple stretches of the game, he has 3 carries for 4 yards. If you could hear the absolute enthusiasm in my voice, Minty, I hope it comes through for this exciting AFC South matchup.
Yes, it's screaming right now. Honestly, every time I look at a Titans game, I think of our colleague Jared Quay, and he made a good point in saying that the Titans win against great teams and lose against bad teams, and I thought this would be the case here, but I mean, we know the Jags don't have anything left to play for, and the Titans are super banged up. I think there's still a chance for the Jaguars here. I would think about taking the plus money with the Jags, maybe see if I can get 14 or better, but I honestly wouldn't touch this game. It's just really tough to call.
I wouldn't touch this game. I barely want to talk about it for maybe more. I'll give it 15 more seconds. I'm going to talk about this game. Honestly, what a nightmare in Jacksonville right now. I mean, there's so many bad vibes. Laquan Treadwell, who you talked about on FFL this morning, is like the #1 receiver. That is no good. Our 15 seconds are now up, so we're not talking about this game any longer. 17-7, Atlanta Falcons over the Carolina Panthers. Strangely enough, actually a rather competitive game here when it comes to the rest of this slate, strangely enough. Some strangeness happened for the Carolina Panthers toward the end of the half. Cam Newton was pulled in favor of P.J. Walker. Cam Newton, I mean, I guess you could call that strangeness. We've kind of seen that a little bit so far this year. We'll see if that's like the Panthers coaching staff kind of preferring P.J. By the way, I don't even know what's going on with that Carolina Panthers coaching staff. We'll see if that's like them preferring P.J. Walker, who's been with the team all year, knows the playbook and all that in like kind of the 4-minute, 2-minute drill type of offense for them, or if this is a benching of Cam Newton, who has run 6 times for 33 yards and a touchdown, but has also thrown an interception in this game. The Falcons are just kind of doing their thing. Cordell Patterson has a touchdown. Russell Gage, who shout out to Tank Williams, called him out as a great sleeper a couple of weeks ago and is a guy who's continuing to see a ton of volume, does lead the team with 58 receiving yards. Minty, what is your read on this game? We've got the Falcons at minus 6.5 as the halftime line.
Nice. Well, I actually really liked the Falcons plus 3 points here, and I thought that maybe the Panthers could get a couple scores on the board and I could get the Falcons at a better number, but it's looking to play out pretty good for the Falcons here. Now, they are notorious for losing leads, so maybe it is time to maybe middle it and bet the Panthers plus 6.5 here. That might hold some value here, but I actually kind of like the Falcons to possibly win this one, but I think it'll be close. I think towards the end, it'll be a lot closer than we think. I don't think it'll be a blowout like all these other games here, but the Panthers, hold on, the Panthers haven't come out with a real, true, like, good win. All their wins have been really close, and their most recent win was against a Kyler Murray-less Arizona team. So can't really trust the Panthers. They have the talent, but just not the right pieces working together. I don't know what's up with them, but I didn't bet on this game. I would have bet on the Falcons, but probably I would not lay 6.5 with that halftime line.
I love the fact, I can't believe you got the Falcons, you said minus 3, right? I know coming into the game
plus
they
3.
were, plus 3. Now they were plus 2.5. When the game actually kicked off. I can't believe that. Look, I know that the Panthers, the Falcons aren't a good team either. We know that. But, like, the Panthers, the wheels are falling off there, okay? I can't believe they were favored coming into this game. I know it's in Carolina, all that, yada, yada. But still, they can't quite decide what they want to do with their offense. Like, obviously, as much as I loved the vibes and the good butterflies in my stomach about the whole Cam Newton, bringing him back home or whatever, it was clear that was a move of total desperation, and they can't even settle on Cam being the guy. Matt Rule fires Joe Brady during the bye week because he wants to run the ball more. Good luck, buddy. You probably shouldn't be down 10 points in the first half if you want to establish the run. That's not really how this thing works here. Urban Meyer, Matt Rule, a couple of college coaches looking a little bit out of their depth so far in their NFL tenure. 2 years for Matt Rule, 1 year for Urban Meyer. Enough of these guys. Let's move on to one of these many blowouts we have to talk about right now. Cleveland Browns 24-6 over the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland minus 20.5. Lamar Jackson was carted from this game. It's an ankle injury. We don't, I think, have an update on if he has been ruled out just yet, but if I missed something, please correct me there. This is just going to be tough, okay? Like, the Ravens already were a team. I talked about the wheels falling off for the Carolina Panthers. The wheels are definitely falling off for the Baltimore Ravens at this point, Minty. They suffered a ton of injuries, during training camp to their running back position. They suffered injuries to their secondary all throughout the year. They lost Marcus Peters early on. Now they've lost Marlon Humphrey for the rest of the year. I mean, this has been a weak point for the Baltimore Ravens all year. And actually, they got an interception off Baker Mayfield, but Jarvis Landry scored a touchdown for them. Austin Hooper. The Ravens can't stop giving up points to the tight end position. So, I don't know. I see Cleveland holding this lead. I don't know if it's going to be quite this dramatic. I don't know if minus 20.5 is an awful lot, but I do see them holding this lead and winning this game.
Yeah, never would I bet minus 20.5 with the Cleveland Browns. This game was really hard to call, and the Ravens actually opened as, I believe, point favorites over the Cleveland Browns, and then a ton of money poured in on the Browns, a ton of sharp money poured in on the Browns. That was the right call. And you're right, the Ravens just riddled with injuries, pre-season, coming into the season, and I mean, Lamar and his ankle, like, this is just not good for Baltimore here. I'm not gonna lie, pre-game I did like Baltimore plus the points, and now I'm really glad I saved my money because this isn't looking good. But you're absolutely right. I think the Browns do hold this lead. Don't think it'll be that dramatic, like you said. I'd stay away from this one. This one was a tough one to call from the very beginning too, as neither of these offenses really have been impressing us lately either.
No, yeah, neither offense very impressive. Like I said, I don't want to hitch my wagon to Baker Mayfield in this one, but if the Browns can just sit on the ball, really run it, and listen, the Baltimore Ravens have been more problematic in the secondary in terms of giving up big plays, but they've also done it on the ground too. I think Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt was a little banged up in this one, but Nick Chubb can get rolling in the second half and just coast their way to a victory. Let's talk about another weird game, although it is competitive. Let's quickly talk Saints-Jets here. The Saints got 10 points, 6 for the Jets. Current line is New Orleans minus 5.5. That's pretty consistent with what it was in the pregame, which was minus 4.5. But I don't know about this one either. This Minty screams like stay away for me. You got Zach Wilson, 7 of 18 in the first half. You got Taysom Hill, 6 of 9, but Alvin Kamara, at least let's be thankful that there's something to watch in the frickin' Saints offense. You got Alvin Kamara back, 13 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown. He is the lone bright spot for either team, quite frankly, so far in this one.
Yeah, always count on Kamara. This one was I'm going to say this about every game. This one was a tough one to call, okay? Because you can't trust the Saints.
Tough week.
Yeah, it's a tough week. They've been super inconsistent, and the Jets you also can't trust. But, I mean, okay. Taysom Hill, just not that good. Saints on a 5-game skid. Jets don't have the offense to close out a win or take advantage of this margin here. So I just don't know what to think of it. I want to take the points with the Jets. But the Saints are obviously the better team, right? But 5.5, that's a lot. That's a lot to lay with the Saints here.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot with the Saints. And even still, too, like you mentioned, the Jets don't have a good offense. They also don't have Elijah Moore. He went on IR. Corey Davis is out for the rest of the season. I mean, those are their two best receivers by a long shot. Even Davis has been disappointing. Moore was a revelation as a rookie. That guy, I think, is a future superstar, but now they're just totally down bad with those two guys out. Michael Carter on IR, Tevin Coleman not playing. Like, they're already a weak offense with the questionable rookie quarterback, and now they're banged up. So forget about it. I probably wouldn't touch the Jets, even though the 5.5 is like kind of tempting here. The Saints have their problems on offense, and defensively they've been a little hit or miss, but they've got enough guys there on that side of the ball, I think, to keep the Jets down the rest of the game. Yeah, this one, again, like I said at the top, looks like a complete stay away from me. All right, let's hit Minty, I'm sorry, we can wait no longer. We must talk about your Raiders here. 35-3. Good Lord. I thought maybe the Chiefs, they beat up on the Raiders before. They're the one other team this year that they've been able to, look like the Chiefs of old against your Raiders. No adjustments from Gus Bradley and the boys in the second matchup here. The Chiefs have been, I saw this from Adam Schefter, the Chiefs have outscored the Raiders so far 76-14 on the season. Oh no, that's not good. Minus 34.5, Kansas City. Where are we at with your Raiders here?
So I thought that the Raiders catching 9.5, 10 points was a steal, and I thought this game would be way closer than it is now. I was like, oh, the first meeting of the season, the Chiefs blew out the Raiders. It's not going to happen again, okay? They won't let it happen again. But this is worse than last time. I don't know what to make of this. Wouldn't. I mean, if the live line went past +10 for the Raiders, that means that they were definitely going to get blown out. And now we're seeing minus 34.5 for the Chiefs. I don't trust them. I don't trust the Raiders. I mean, there's just no hope for this now. I thought the Raiders could catch up a little bit with the Chiefs, but it's not going to happen now in the second half. There is no hope.
No, there's no hope. And the Chiefs defense has been good, in this second half of the season. They've been on fire. They're playing really well. I saw Frank Clark get a sack. They got a fumble recovery right off the bat from Josh Jacobs. I went to the bathroom after FFL because we're on, the air for like an hour and a half. I get back, and the Chiefs already have scored because Josh Jacobs has fumbled the ball. So, that's how quickly that thing happened. And I'm sure that was information everybody wanted to know. Hey, a silver lining, though, for Raiders in fantasy, if you played Hunter Renfrow, good for you. 8 catches, 79 yards. He's going to be great. Josh Jacobs, I mentioned, 4 catches for 41 yards. So you're going to get these garbage time little dink and dunk drives from your Raiders that'll probably make it for you in fantasy. And hey, shout out to Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon scores a touchdown in this game. That's how bad things are for the Raiders. You have Josh Gordon in the year 2021 scoring touchdowns on you. Before we move to the next game, just to update one earlier item we talked about, Cam Newton is the starter for the Panthers in the second half, so it looks like it was sort of they prefer P.J. Walker, who knows the playbook. Whatever. Who cares? That's enough of that already. Let's talk about Washington football team and Dallas. I mean, this is another game. Minty, I said on FFL, probably, I'm so stupid. I know that when I say something 5+ times on one show, it's absolutely going to come back to haunt me. I'm pretty sure I said, I expect Washington Dallas to have a lot of points and be pretty fun for fantasy. Well, I thought that both teams would be doing the fun things. So far, it's only been Dallas 24-0 over Washington. The halftime line is minus 23.5. Dallas's defense came to play, and Taylor Heineke, my God, my guy, the ODU's. I don't even know if I can call him ODU's finest right now. Where's Zach Pascal? Zach Pascal's on a bye week. He might be ODU's finest right now. Taylor Heineke looks like he is determined to throw another interception out there. It's been tough sledding for a Washington team who absolutely, had they won this game, they could have told themselves a story where they were pretty interesting the rest of the season. But this is not looking good so far for them.
I have so many things to say. At least Washington can say that they beat Tom Brady and the Bucs, so that's something. And they improved immensely after their bye week. But other than that Tampa Bay win, they've won against teams that were trending downwards. So I knew that this was kind of a tricky game because the line opened at Dallas minus 4.5, and then after all the key injury news updates, it went up to Dallas -6.5. So I got Washington +6.5, and I was like, ooh, a 2-point cushion, great. Like, you know, the injuries are built into the line. And 24-0, like they're shutting out Washington. And I had faith in Taylor Heineke, but now it's all gone. This was the only one that I bet on the early slate of games, and I immediately regret it. They're so far gone, but I do believe that they can catch up. I think the Cowboys can let their foot off the gas here, and Washington can take advantage, but that's really slim. That's really like a slim chance of that happening.
Well, it couldn't be much worse. I mean, Taylor Heineke, 2 of 12 in the first half, 1 interception. And I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure the Dallas defenders have tipped more balls than Washington. I mean, no, it's not an exaggeration. They've caught 2 passes. Adam Humphries has both the catches. I guarantee you Dallas has tipped or at least touched more passes of Taylor Heineke so far in this game. Tough scene for Washington.
Yeah.
To update one other thing we talked about earlier before we move on to the late games, Lamar Jackson ruled out for the rest of the game. So Tyler Huntley, good luck and God bless you in this matchup. Should be fun with Myles Garrett on the other side of the field. All right, let's talk about the later games. Hopefully we get some, we get some niceness in the 4 p.m. Eastern time slate. I mean, this 1 p.m. Eastern time has been a total nightmare. Let's start off with the Bengals. Interesting game against the 49ers. San Francisco -2 here is the opening line. Where are we at with this matchup? I know you've been on the Bengals a decent bit this year. I think the 49ers are looking for a rebound coming off a disappointing loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Both these teams, they feel like kind of equal operations here right now.
Yeah, very equal operations here. Now, actually, in the beginning of the week, the Bengals opened as 2.5-point favorites, but a ton of sharp money on San Francisco here, and I actually am liking the Bengals plus the points and possibly to win straight up here as well. But again, this one is a tough one to call. They're so evenly matched, and they've both looked pretty good lately, and I think both of them are coming off of some tough losses, right, in their last week. Yeah. But I just don't know if I want to bet this game because I let my bias get to me with Cincinnati. God, like I said, I love betting on Cincy as a dog. I think Joe Burrow has the ability to move the ball very well and can cause headaches for that San Francisco defense, but I don't know. I don't know, Matt. What do you think?
I'm with you that I think it's like I go back and forth. There's some injuries on both sides. Joe Burrow's pinky obviously looked like a problem when we saw like the close-up of it on that game last week. But at the same time, I think he looked better once he came back from that injury in that game against the Chargers, like you mentioned, disappointing loss. I'm interested to see what he looks like. This 49ers defense, like the numbers don't necessarily bear this out, but I still think you can attack them with the deep passing game with Josh Norman and some of the guys they've got at cornerback right now. I look for Jamar Chase to potentially have a bounce-back game after literally volleying an interception that should have been a touchdown. Could have set that game on a very different course last week. Look for a bounce back there. And obviously Deebo Samuel coming back. We'll see how much his playing time is for the San Francisco 49ers. But we know that offense with George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and even if Eli Mitchell's not there in the backfield, they can still move the ball against a pretty good defense. So this one, I'm excited to watch this game and learn much more about these two teams. One of them should be a pretty interesting team in terms of like the wild card picture in their respective conferences, but we shall see. All right, Minty, let's quickly touch on Lions Broncos. I mean, who cares? The Broncos are minus 12.5. That seems like kind of a lot for the Broncos.
It is a lot.
Do you agree?
Indeed.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, but I'm glad we are touching on this game because this is actually the most bet matchup over at BetMGM, oddly. I don't know why.
Wow.
A lot of money on the Broncos, though. Yeah, weird. I think a lot of people are actually
what could go
pretty
wrong?
high on the Lions. Yeah, pretty high on the Lions after what happened last week. When was their win? Last week? Yeah, whatever their first win is.
Week?
I think a lot of people are high on the Lions here, which they were due for a win, and they should have been due for a win a couple weeks ago against the Steelers. But I would honestly be on the Lions here. I mean, they're actually a great covering team, and now that the line has moved from 11.5 this morning to now 12.5, I think I really like the Lions here. But I don't know if I really want to put my money on Detroit.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the big problem here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough, right? Look, the Lions obviously have their issues. They got a ton of COVID problems. They got COVID problems and flu problems. A lot of problems there for the Detroit Lions in terms of illnesses. So, look, they're already a bad team. They're probably undermanned in this one. So, I don't know, though. It's a lot of points for the Broncos. I'd probably just stay away from this one. Let's move on to another potentially ugly game. LA Chargers, New York Giants. The Chargers are 9.5-point home favorites. How are we feeling about this one? Chargers coming off a pretty impressive win against the Bengals last week.
Yeah, impressive indeed. And they have it in them they have had it in them to win way more games, but this one is a stay away for me. 9.5 points is a lot. Now the Giants are riddled with injuries, and even if they weren't, they're probably going to lose anyway. However, the Chargers' victory margin, they've only hit 10 or more points in only 2 games this season. So, I don't know. Them needing to win by over 9 points is kind of risky here, even against the Giants. So, that's why this one is a stay away for me. Hopefully, if the perfect scenario happens, is where the Giants can score early and then maybe get the Chargers at, I would only live bet the Chargers at -3 or better, but I doubt we're going to see that. I doubt the Giants get ahead early. I doubt the Chargers will let that happen. So that's the only scenario that I would in-game bet the Chargers, is if I can get a -3 or better.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Keenan Allen's going to miss this game for the Chargers on the COVID-19 list. But listen, Mike Glennon's starting for the Giants. That's not what you want. That's a tough scene. We saw that against the Miami Dolphins last week. Didn't go so well for the Giants. I think the Chargers, I don't know. I think they could kind of run away with this one. I could see them winning by at least 10 points here against the Giants. It's just, like when the Chargers are on, and they were on last week, we love seeing Justin Herbert with that double-digit ADOT, especially on first down passes. Keep that aggression rolling, Chargers, and I think you can be a much bigger threat in the AFC than we thought. All right, let's talk on there's probably 2 game of the week candidates. This is definitely one of them. The Buffalo Bills at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks -3.5. This game should be really fun for fantasy. Obviously, a ton of potential scoring here. Both teams extremely pass heavy and talent littered all over the field. But the Bills coming in, obviously, off getting beat up in a very windy game against the Patriots. There's all kinds of questions about their toughness, Minty. Where are we at with these 2 teams?
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo has had maybe one of the easiest schedules in the league, and it's now showing. They're finally showing their true colors that some good competition is going to be hard to beat. I mean, with New England, we saw that it kind of was close, but it wasn't close. Like, they were never going to win that game, but they had the potential to take advantage of such a short lead that New England had. But I actually really like the Bucs here. I gave it out as one of my best bets on FFL. I don't like betting a favorite at that 3.5 line, because if they win by field goal, I'm screwed. But Tampa Bay, they're 4-1 against the spread at home this season. Buffalo's 2-4-1 against the spread their last 7. I just don't think that defense can compete with that pass-heavy Tampa offense. So, I mean, I like the Bucs a lot, but I'm seeing, yeah, exactly. And I'm liking, there's a little bit more money on Buffalo this week for that game. So I like Tampa Bay a little bit more now that more people are on Buffalo plus the point.
I mean, if you wanted to draw up a defense that Buffalo should be able to exploit, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, we know they stop the run. The Bills don't really care about running the ball. They can't really do it. They want to just throw the ball. That's why they're built. Brian Daboll is the offensive coordinator there. Just wants to fling the football all over the air. Tampa Bay's getting healthier in the secondary, but still has plenty of issues there as well. They're not perfectly up to full strength, so that's definitely an area that I could see them exploiting. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills come in and win this game. I would not be surprised. I don't know that I'd bet it either way. I just want to watch it and probably look at some potential player props in that one as well. All right, last game. That is all the late games. Let's move into the 2 primetime games, Minty. First up, the less exciting of the 2. We've got Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears. Naturally, the Packers are 11.5-point favorites here. How are we feeling about this one? We are going to get Justin Fields back in our lives here for the Bears, so at least like you have a reason to watch, Bears fans, to keep evaluating your rookie quarterback. But other than that, not much exciting for the Bears in this one.
Yeah, this isn't really a strong pick, but I'm leaning Green Bay minus 11.5, and I don't bet large spreads.
Man,
So
you never bet these big favorites.
No way. But yeah, I'm not going to get to the window with this one. I mean, Chicago, although they do have Justin Fields back, I don't know if that's like is that really that much of an upgrade from Andy Dalton? I don't know. He didn't really produce much against Green Bay in his last start against Green Bay, and I guess we'll touch up on that in your player props. But I just don't think Chicago has the offensive firepower to fight back with Green Bay, and I mean the Packers are the best covering team in the league, so I would have to lean the Packers here. But I'm not touching this. I don't like NFC North matchups because I always lose.
Understandable. Yeah, it's tough. Look, the Bears are awful. So let's dive into the player props, though, for this one. First up, I've got A.J. Dillon over 70.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I know that Aaron Jones is back, I don't know if this is even really a hot take, but I would be 0% surprised if A.J. Dillon is just the 1A back in this committee the rest of the way. Wouldn't be surprised if he's the better fantasy back the rest of the season compared to Aaron Jones there. Look, A.J. Dillon has been awesome. He's been a great rhythm power runner on the ground. Also been good as a receiver. I love getting just 70.5 rushing plus receiving yards for A.J. Dillon because I think he can do it via the ground. I think he can do it via the air. And this Chicago defense, it's not healthy. Yeah, we know Khalil Mack is on IR. Akeem Hicks still not back yet. I think this is not a great defensive matchup there, and A.J. Dillon in positive game script should be piling up a ton of yards here.
Yeah, A.J. Dillon has been a great target for Rodgers this season, but like you said, with Aaron Jones back, and I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game. So I love that this total is set so low for the rushing and receiving yards at 70.5, and I think in any other regular game this could hit. But I think this game the total is going to be so low, which is my only concern, is why I wouldn't take the over. But why not? You only live once. So yeah, 70.5, that's great. I mean, he's exceeded 70.5 combined yards in his last 4 games straight. So I like it, Matt.
More than a few of those with Aaron Jones too. So again, you're getting both there. I like it a lot. I think A.J. Dillon's still a guy you got to start in fantasy as well. Next one is another over, but it's a lower total. I've got Marquez Valdes-Scantling over 39.5 receiving yards. Really only needs one monster play to get there. The Bears' passing defense has been steadily trending down all season long. They're 20th in explosive pass rate allowed. No Randall Cobb in this one. I know they don't really play the same position, but that should just leave more opportunities to MVS's way. Scored a deep touchdown last we saw him as well. Again, really only needs one big play to get over this pretty low total here, Minty.
You're right. He does need one big play. I like MVS, and I think this total sets so low because they're tempting you to bet on the over, Matt, but I just don't think we'll see much of him on the field today.
Very boomer.
Yeah. So I may have to disagree with you and go on the under with that one.
Well, I'm going to go under on my next one, Minty, and that's Justin Fields. I'm going under 185.5 passing yards. I think Justin Fields can get off some big plays on the ground, but not through the air. This Packers defense has continued to get better and better and better. Don't like Fields coming off multiple game absence with his injury. Allen Robinson's going to be back. I just don't know how much that moves the needle for this passing offense at this point, as much as I hate to say it. They're just a more voluminous, not as exciting, but much more voluminous passing offense when Andy Dalton is playing, not when Justin Fields is playing.
Yeah, Fields only had 172 passing yards in his last meeting with Green Bay, so that's cutting it close. I also have to go with the under here. Very low.
It's low, but I could see him only getting to 150 or something like that in this matchup. It's not going to be fun for the Bears. All right, let's talk Monday Night Football. Yet another game of the week candidate here. We've got the Arizona Cardinals welcoming the LA Rams. This is an important game for both teams. The Cardinals can really establish themselves as the best team in the NFC, really kind of cruise towards that #1 seed and potentially home field advantage if they win this game. If the Rams win this game, the conversation gets a lot more interesting. We've got Arizona -2.5. How are you feeling about this one, Minty?
As much as I am loving the Cardinals lately, I have to go with the Rams. Sean McVay is 4-0 straight up and against the spread in Arizona. Man, and although LA hasn't been looking good lately, they are averaging the most yards per play and defensively allowing the fourth fewest. So I think there's a chance here. I think all the ugly stuff that we saw in past weeks with the Rams is going to end tonight. And, you know, I believe last season after Kyler's return from injury, I should say, his performance wasn't all that great. Like, it wasn't all that impressive. So I'm thinking maybe the same thing happens here, where he's still kind of, I mean, he's only, his second week off of injury. So we'll see. I actually really like the Rams in this spot here.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch Kyler Murray in this one. It was a very cold, nasty game in Chicago. Apparently there's a lot of narrative out there about Kyler Murray playing in the cold. We don't know how that's going to work out, hand size, all that type of thing. So this will be comfortable for him to be back inside his own building. Let's move into the player props. And I want to say this before we get into here. Couldn't get anything on either backfield. Obviously, Darrell Henderson on the COVID list. That's, you know, he's probably not going to play, I would assume. So you better get your Sony Michel overs in for sure in this game, but they were not available yet. So I will go with 3 others that I like, but not as much as I would like a Sony Michel over. I don't know what the line is, but I want to go for that one if and when it ever opens up. But the 3 I do have here for us, I've got Kyler Murray over 1.5 passing touchdowns at minus 175. This one feels way too low. I think he can get 2 in this one. I really like the way some of the matchups unfold here for Arizona in their passing game, especially with the player I will talk about next. I think this game's going to be high scoring. Both these offenses are efficient. Both these defenses have areas, the Cardinals' pass defense has been very good so far this year, but there are still some areas for the Rams to exploit. So in a high-scoring game, I think Murray can throw at least 2 touchdowns. The only way that I could get banged on this is if he runs for 2. Then I'll be in trouble. But I will go ahead and risk it here and say he's going to get 2 through the air, Minty.
Yeah, it's rare when Kyler doesn't record at least 1 passing touchdown in a game. And in fact, in his last 5 games, he's had 2 or more in 3 of those 5 games, which pretty typical of Kyler. Now, I want this to be a high-scoring game, but I don't think it's going to be. And there may be value on taking the under here because, as you said, he could run in for a touchdown himself, or I believe he will be utilizing James Conner a lot in this game as well. So I'm going to go with under. I think he records just 1 passing touchdown, but no more than that.
Total is 51.5, so that should be interesting to just watch this game overall. Player I do like from the Cardinals passing game to hit his over is Zach Ertz, over 3.5 catches. I think the tight end is going to be crucial in this matchup. We've seen Cliff Kingsbury, kind of feature this position against the Rams specifically. Zach Ertz has played pretty well for this team since being brought on. I think he's going to be crucial as an over-the-middle guy there for this team. So give me the over on just 3.5 catches for Zach Ertz in this matchup.
That is pretty high. I mean, he balled out against Seattle, but I feel like 4 catches is kind of a stretch. I'm going to ride with you on the over, though, just because obviously you're very profitable in these props here, Matt.
All right, last one. And again, I would love, if I'm betting something on the Rams, I'd love for it to be Sony Michel. But I will go over on Odell Beckham, 46.5 receiving yards. His routes run dipped last week, but I think that's because they basically didn't need to use him while dealing with an injury last week against the Jaguars team. They were always going to blow out. Speaking of which, I'm about to see Ryan Tannehill score another touchdown against the loser Jacksonville Jaguars. So don't care about what happened last week for Odell Beckham. I care about this week, though. The Cardinals have been very good at limiting explosive plays through the air, but I still think Beckham as their vertical receiver, if this game gets high scoring, I can see him getting to at least 50 yards in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't usually have a lot of high expectations with OBJ, and I don't hop on the hype train with him, but I do like this set at only 46.5. I mean, with Cooper Kupp, what is he playing but through a toe injury? I am expecting to see some equal participation with OBJ and Van Jefferson back and forth, so I like that over a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Odell Beckham in that game against the Packers, they were all dead even in terms of routes run. So I think these 3 guys are going to be on the field almost 100% of the snaps. So give me the one who's got the lowest total here, which is Beckham at 46.5. I can't wait to watch this game, Minty. It's going to be pretty exciting. Hopefully some of these later games in Week 14 do us a little more favor than what happened here in the early slate, but I always appreciate every time we get to do this show together. Thanks so much. Try to just not look at that Raiders game the rest of the day. Let's just put that in the past, and let's look forward to the future. Good luck to all of you out there. Thank you so much for watching. To all your bets, to all your fantasy teams, your daily fantasy teams, Good luck out there, people, the rest of Week 14.